Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about 3 DoorDash updates. So DoorDash has been making a lot of updates as of late, and some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are just straight micromanaging, but can also lead for some positives for us as drivers. So with that said, I want to go over some of the latest updates that DoorDash just went through, what they're telling you versus how it actually is, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain and is never intended to be legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult with qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over in this video is very market dependent. What applies to me and my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started. Receipt scanning upon pickup. So DoorDash is testing a feature where people who are picking up orders have to take a picture of the bag and the order and verify that they're picking up the right order. They say it's to protect your ratings, but honestly, I don't believe that's the entire reason. And of course, DoorDash did not have a help page for this, or if they did, I couldn't find it, so epic fail on their part. So for this one, we're gonna refer to Bentley Coupe on DoorDash Diaries.
Confirming orders just got a little bit trickier. With this latest update, you will have to either take a picture of the receipt or you'll have to take a picture of the entire order before you are allowed to confirm the pickup and move on towards your delivery. DoorDash says that this is to help with the accuracy of the order. I'm really not 100% sold on this yet. I want to believe that some way, shape, or form this is to try to help deter dashers from stealing food, but I haven't quite figured that out yet.
I don't know if it's actually gonna deter people from actually stealing the food. I think that there's definitely gonna be a deterrence for people who take a fry out of a pack of fries or take a nugget out of a 10-piece or something like that. But fast food restaurants have already been on that, you know? It's not like this is new information for them. There's a reason that they seal the bags the way they do. Also, how does it help with accuracy when we're not even supposed to be going through the order, but you want us to take a picture of the bag before we actually take the order? I don't know if it's actually going to help in that way. But of course, Reddit is all over this, so let's talk about that. I'm sure they probably only use this for problematic customers who are always trying to get refunds, saying they got the wrong order or were missing items. That's true too. This could definitely reduce our contract violations for people saying that they got the wrong order. And honestly, this isn't going to help too much in that, because let's think about it like this. We can't go through the order anyway. So if they hand us a bag that is completely unmarked, we're picking up for Amanda. It's definitely for Amanda, according to the restaurant. Meanwhile, they just handed him Marcus's order because they both have similar looking bags. That's not our fault, but that'll be put on us. And then they could use this against us. Indeed, evidently it has some kinks to work out, because the confirm pickup button wouldn't work after I took a picture and had to contact support to confirm the pickup. I hope they ironed that out. Seems like DoorDash is finally doing some good for us drivers lately. Got it for the second time, and the confirm pickup button is still broken, so it seems like this wasn't an isolated incident. The feature is just currently broken. That's not surprising, is it? DoorDash technology glitching the hell out. If you guys have that issue, that is not just a you issue. You can contact support and they can help you from there. I hope they continue doing this. It benefits everyone all around. Company doesn't lose money, dashers don't get effed over, customers with legitimate problems with their order can get refunded accordingly. This is one of the most positive steps in the right direction they've made in quite some time. I feel like a lot of these companies are starting to realize that the drivers are not the enemy here, but the customers that are trying to scam the system, because it really has gotten too far. Like, we literally won't help no-tip customers anymore, and now the company is literally saying, you know what, we're tired of helping these people too. Now that said, that doesn't mean we're off the chopping block. Yes, the receipt scanning feature can help prevent wrong order delivered violations, but at the same time, that shouldn't have been put on us to begin with.
Now, can drivers take steps to verify the order?
Yes, if the bag is marked and you're taking Christine's order, even though you have marks, that's a different conversation. But there have been so many issues in regards to order accuracy that are put on the driver, even though they shouldn't have been put on the driver. We can't check the items that are in the bag. We can't confirm that an order is for Amanda if the receipt's not on it. They do have a setup for saying receipt unavailable, but now that is literally just saying,
why wouldn't you take a picture of the receipt? That's suspicious.
even though it wasn't even on the bag to begin with, or they ripped the receipt off the bag, and that's a different conversation entirely. And even if we do confirm it, like they just wrote in handwriting on the bag saying Amanda, that ends up on the driver anyway, which makes no sense. Like, why do you have a system in place to prevent an issue if you're not actually going to prevent an issue? Is it because you were lying, because you want to falsify information, because you want to wrongfully deactivate drivers and develop a paper trail that looks like you have a justifiable reason, but in reality, no, you did not? That's what I thought. Now, I could be completely wrong, and this ends up being beneficial for drivers long term, but I doubt it. This is DoorDash we're talking about. New unassigned questions. DoorDash now has even more questions in regards to why you would be unassigning the orders you are choosing to unassign. Again, we're going to refer to DoorDash diaries on this because DoorDash doesn't have a help page.
Unassigning orders just got a little bit more complicated too. Before you can do anything, the first thing the app asks you is, are you being forced to unassign this order, or is it a personal choice?
Actually speaking, there are times where a restaurant will actually ask me to unassign, and there has actually been an instance recently where they told me outright that they're not handing me an order. There was a point in time where a restaurant chose to be very disrespectful to me as a gig worker. I ended up writing a review on them because I didn't like the service I received. They doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down on that concept and ended up saying, we refuse to give you deliveries at all. I had to have the entirety of the order canceled. In this case, if this was a DoorDash order, you could actually say, hey, they're forcing this on me. But would I get the half pay at that point if they're forcing me to unassign? What about the expenses it took to actually get there? That makes no sense to me.
Are you being forced? Is this a situation where the food has already been handed out, the restaurant is closed, or maybe you are at the restaurant and they are refusing to personally give you the order? They'll ask you a couple more options, and then from there you can unassign.
That is true too. Maybe somebody already took the order and they're not remaking it for any reason, so that's why it gets unassigned.
The second option is if you are personally choosing to unassign the order. Once you choose this, it's going to, again, give you a couple more options, and one of my favorite on here is that the pay is too low.
If you're at the restaurant and you're saying the pay is too low at that point, you already took the order and now you're unassigning it because of the payout, you should have declined the order without accepting it to begin with. That's your own stupid choice.
We have a couple other options, but the one that I use the most is, of course, the food is not ready. And when you say that they are taking too long, it goes on to ask how long the food is going to take and if they've even started to make the order yet.
Grubhub actually has this feature already, and they definitely took a page from them, and honestly, it's about time that they did this.
I'm hoping that they'll use this information to focus on restaurants who are constantly late, who are constantly holding up dashers, and who are constantly the reason for long delivery times.
Honestly, I think that is a very big step in that direction too. And I think a lot of these restaurants need to be held accountable for being the reason that the order is being held up for so long. Like, there's a reason we have a blacklist for restaurants who treat us like this.
But on the low end, I'm hoping that maybe they'll use this information, again, like I was just saying, to correct the delivery times, okay? So that dashers aren't sitting at the restaurants and customers don't have to wait an hour or so in order to get their food.
I do hope this will reduce wait time to almost nothing. I absolutely agree with that. And that's not just for DoorDash either. That's for UberEats, Grubhub, all of them. They need to start fulfilling those orders more effectively and stop discriminating against gig workers when we all know that they're the reason this is happening. Now, they've already implemented commented at some point that if you're waiting at a restaurant for like 10, 15, 20 minutes or something like that, that order will not hit your completion rating due to how long it's been waiting. But by the time you're at that point, you're either thinking, well, I'm already invested this much, I might as well get some kind of return. Or you weren't waiting 5 minutes, let alone 10 to 20. Not to mention with some really dishonest restaurant staff out there, you feel like you have to be a jerk just to get an answer out of them. And you almost have to assume that they're lying, even though they could actually be telling the utmost truth because of how other restaurants are. I was picking up from this fancy higher end pizza place not too long ago, Blue Steel Pizza. Imagine Anthony's coal-fired pizza, but in like a mom and pop shop. I get there, the waitress asks me if I'm picking up for somebody. I tell them it's for this person. They go back, they check on it, and they come back and say it's gonna be 5 minutes. Okay, no problem, it's gonna be 5 minutes. 5 minutes goes by and another waitress, completely separate from that first one, asked me if I was waiting on a table. Because I've been waiting there for 5 minutes, I were assuming I just wasn't being served. No, I'm actually waiting for this person on this order. Oh, let me go check on that for you. She goes back to check on it. She says it's gonna be 15 to 20 minutes. I stare at her for a second and say, what happened to 5 minutes when I got here 7 minutes ago? Now, it turns out in this case, the second waitress actually made a mistake and the order was almost ready. Or they realized that they were effing around and they didn't want to find out, but that's not the point. The point is, there's a lot of people that would just double, triple, and quadruple down on the concept of them being an absolute scumbag and discriminating against gig workers.
Oh, we're really busy tonight.
Meanwhile, your restaurant looks like a barren wasteland.
Oh, we got the order like 5 seconds ago.
Meanwhile, the to-go station where you would be receiving orders has been completely unmanned for 5 minutes, and you haven't even so much as acknowledged the tablet, let alone any other people at the to-go station for a good 10 minutes.
You know, you gig workers are always doing too much.
As if that justifies why you weren't working at all. Definitely a step in the right direction in correcting that kind of behavior. 90% completion rating requirement. So we already knew this from a few months ago, but DoorDash is now implementing a change to the completion rating requirement that changes the previous 80% minimum to the now 90% minimum, or at least in more markets. But with these other changes that we were talking about, now it's a little bit more attainable because things aren't hitting your completion rating as much. But now they're rolling this out to even more markets, and they're notifying people that their accounts are in danger of deactivation, meaning there may be a mass deactivation on the horizon. If you need to know more about completion ratings and the updates that they made a few months ago, I will leave a video I made on the subject in the description. Feel free to check that out. Final thoughts. I think DoorDash is making some moves to hold restaurants accountable for their misbehavior, while at the same time making sure that we're not just ignoring accuracy and we're not over cherry picking, you know what I'm saying? Meaning that we're not just going into a restaurant and assuming that it's going to be ready at the moment of arrival, even though we took a borderline order, and we're just going to unassign it if it's not immediately ready. That's the perspective I see for those of us on the ground level. Now, what this will look like for the corporate office in the back office world of DoorDash, they're gonna see who they could give the McDonald's treatment to. If they're making drivers wait for too long, they're gonna actually increase the amount of commission they're gonna start charging those particular McDonald's. They will see a bunch of drivers they could wrongfully deactivate and have a mass deactivation on our hands so they can roll in new drivers, assuming that's gonna be the case. They will have less unassigned orders, which will lead to the base pay not going up, and DoorDash will reduce their costs on their end because they're not paying out as much in base pay because those unassigns aren't contributing to the base pay. Honestly, it's kind of creative how they would be saving it that way, so respect. Just keep in mind DoorDash and their natural MO. If they're gonna make something good for drivers, they will inevitably ruin it. Did I miss anything? Is there something else that this will inevitably lead to that I have yet to think about on these updates? Let me know in the comments. Let's make sure that anybody and everybody sees every perspective as possible in terms of all of the updates mentioned in this video, so that way we can make the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.